First tonight, to the wounds of Nigeria's Labour Party, which, to be fair, are deep. And so far, it's not clear what it'll take to heal all the chaos and division that's brought the party virtually to its knees. The party, of course, came from nowhere into the mainstream of Nigerian politics, but then, having got there, it headed off away from the mainstream, vacating that landscape and leaving it almost entirely to the ruling APC. But now, according to its 2023 presidential candidate, Peter Obi, the process of healing has begun. He's been attending meetings, trying to bring all the warring factions together amid a lot of soul-searching. And he's borrowed a leaf from the leader of Britain's Labour Party and new Prime Minister of the UK, Keir Starmer, who said that the battle for trust is the battle that defines our age. That is why, he said, the UK Labour Party campaigned so hard to demonstrate that they are fit for public service. Service, Mr. Starmer said, is the precondition for hope and the guiding principle for an effective government. Country first, party second. A message that Mr. Obi's supporters say he's been trying to echo. But is anyone in the party leadership listening, divided as they are?
We've deliberated on what we think we need to. For me, I've listened to this side, I've listened to this side, and we'll go on consulting within the stakeholders, which involves a lot of people. So why have we wait forward? Whichever forces that is involved, we will resolve it. External and internal, we will amicably resolve this to the greater interest of Nigerians, not just Labour Party, where we'll start caring about what concerns Nigerians.
Peter Obi there. Well, for more on this, I'm joined now in the studio by the spokesperson of the Obi Dati campaign organization in 2023, the chief spokesperson, in fact, Dr. Yunusa Tanko, who is the current spokesman for the Peter Obi Media Reach Group. Thank you very much indeed for joining us.
Thank you very much for having me, Charles.
So would you describe the last 24 hours as pretty hectic for you guys?
And highly productive.
Right. Well, we'll get to the productive bit, but let's start with the difficulties. How challenging a day was it for Peter Obi trying to bring all these warring factions of the Labour Party together?
Yeah, let me first of all congratulate the Labour Party in the UK for that particular landslide victory, and then I hope it serves as a bridge builder between Nigeria and other Labour Party around the world. The challenges are quite huge. Because as a leader, when you sit, even in your common sitting room, you will hear all sides of the divide. Some even sit down and create and concoct issues that has no bearing whatsoever, with no very viable fact, but insisting that it's something that that particular leader must buy into. So therefore, for His Excellency, thank God he has a quantum of experience, and is kind of a person that really sit down and think deeply at every single information that comes to his desk, and then to take a decision. And that is exactly the process in which he is taking at the moment. Because knowing fully well there are individuals who may not necessarily even be interested in the Labour Party, nor be interested in him as a person, or whatever he stands for, but rather, okay, let me continue to infuse different ideas into his head in order to cause chaos. But now, he is taking the bull by the horn. So, okay, let us even listen to everybody. Let's listen to your own reasons for taking this particular stand. Why do you have to go through this to get to this particular level? And the first point of call, of course, will be the Labour Party itself. Meeting the leadership, getting to know their pains, and understand the dynamics within the party. You also excuse His Excellency for the part that he came into the party. Definitely he must have studied the party. But of course, when you are coming into a party,
he's a new kid on the block.
And
really,
so a lot of the issues within the system may not be fully availed to you at a particular point in time. But then, once you know some of them, hoping that they will have been able to overcome those particular challenges. But then, here we are. Then he moved on very closely to get to meet these legislators, those who won elections under the Labour Party. What are your fears? What are your challenges? How do we take care of these particular issues already on our plates? I met this executive governor, the only governor, the performing governor that we have.
So were they all in attendance?
No.
Or he met them separately?
He met them separately.
Right, okay.
Because when you meet people separately, they will be able to tell you exactly what goes.
Yeah,
and they have ample
point.
time to really explain to you what they really think is wrong.
So having met all these different parts of the party, not just the warring factions, but also the if you like, the successful parts of the party in terms of winning elections and who are now participants in the governance of this country, did he find a voice of unity, a voice that could assuage those underlying concerns amid that mood of profound fractiousness in the party?
Oh, sure. Because when you try to bring out all of the venom in you in terms of anger, at the end of it all, what you say is that, look, I want us to win elections. I want to have a strong political party. I want us to look at how to build the party. And this is a word that resonate within the whole different factors. Nobody will tell you that I want to destroy the party. He will tell you that his interest is to win or make the party stronger. So if that is the point of connection, then let's rally around it. The obedient movement, which is the key integral part of it, are eager to have a political party that is different from the whole lot. And so therefore, they are making their point very cogently, directly, and they want a corrupt-free political party which is targeted towards good governance.
Nevertheless, everybody recognizes, do they not, that after a disastrous few months of public infighting within the Labour Party, the party is virtually on its knees. And I'm wondering what Peter B's intervention tells you about where the party is at the moment.
Oh, he gives great hope, because many people have accused or make statements as regard to what is the inability to wade into the action and then solve the problem. But here is the man spending his own personal money, moving from point A to point B. As we speak, he's still having meetings with people and trying to build up particular. So he's giving every concerned stakeholder renewed hope. Not in the renewed hope that we are having right now. No, I'm talking about a hope within the party that would change the Nigerian situation for the better, starting with the Labour Party.
And do they all agree? I mean, there are people within the party who were taking aim at him. I mean, there are people who realigned with other groups, and he became their primary target. I'm wondering whether it looks to you like Mr. B's personality will be able to cut through to the many renegades in the party and be able to get them across that reconciliation line, because they have to be able to trust him to do that.
I have been in politics probably a little bit earlier than even he himself, His Excellency. But I've never seen a politician who take every target at him and turn it around to be something that he learns from. He doesn't get angry. He even joke about them, because you know that even if you say something against him or accuse him of something, he will not look at the value of what you have said and turn it around to be a profit. So those who are making a swipe at him and all, they're even making him stronger. So now he has already come out.
We're not talking about him being stronger. We're talking about him reconciling those factions.
He has
if they don't believe in him, if they're fighting him, how is he going to be able to reconcile them?
That's what I mean by saying that he's stronger, because they are coming at him and he is now building that particular, okay, come, let me now talk to you. And then they are listening. It's just like me now. You sit down and you accuse me, and you think that probably the next day you call me, I will listen to you, or I will call you, or I will want to talk to you. Some politicians don't do that. They will even follow you up with another strategy of hitting you back. But in his own case, is somebody that listen, even if you are okay, accuse me, let's sit down. Let us hear the issues. Then we yield to superior argument. He is more concerned very vehemently as regard to the situation of the Nigerian people at the moment now. And he always says it. This particular argument and up and down that you are doing does not put food on the table of the Nigerian people, does not take care of their medical fees, does not take care of their security, do not take care of how their children goes to school. So we must put that at the back of our mind as a basic issue in order to find a rallying point around these our differences.
Right. Obviously, as I'm sure you know, Mr. Tanko, what is happening in the Labour Party also reflects on Mr. Obi himself. And, you know, a lot of people, he was under a lot of pressure to actually intervene, and for a long time he didn't. And what was happening in the Labour Party was calling into question his own governing competence, because the feeling seemed to be that if he can't unite his party, if that unity is in tatters, how can he be trusted to run the country in an orderly fashion?
But you know, amazingly, I would disagree with quite a lot of people because they don't know what he has been doing. Quite honestly, they don't. And I'm telling you,
so he's been doing things behind the scenes. Of course. So why is he doing it in front of the scenes?
Now, because already the situation is getting more complex. After making all of those particular attempts, now let us take this issue frontally. If I've used a kinetic solution to it and it's not working, let me use a stick and carrot approach and see whether it will work. I'm just giving a scenario.
Right.
So now you are not coming out and say, look, I am here.
But I thought you said he was making progress.
Yes, he was. Because if he wasn't, many of them wouldn't have been sitting down to listen to him. Let me give you a simple example. At the point even we were in going to court at that particular time, when some of these particular issues were so severe, His Excellency was willing to meet with the Apapa group and the Araban Bees and the Aburis and all at that particular time. But, of course, probably those who do not want peace at that time did not even allow that particular reconciliatory move to happen. I am part of it because I had meetings with both groups. And so I know. So all of those particular period, he has been making concerted effort. But now, we need to clean this up. And so therefore, he has met with the Nigerian Labour Congress National Transition Committee leadership, and the meeting has been so productive. Now he's taking it up to another level that, okay, now that I've finished hearing from everybody, we need to call for a meeting. Everybody should sit around the table and sort this particular problem out. This is, of course, independent of what the Independent Electoral Commission will do as its own. But now he's frontally sitting on top of this particular matter as a leader, as a father, and somebody who cares for all.
Right. If you were a Labour-inclined voter, which you clearly are, but if you were, I mean, not you in particular, but if you were a Labour-inclined voter in the last election, what sort of questions would you be asking yourself now as you look at the same Labour Party today? Would you be wondering what life would have looked like in this country if Labour was in power today in Nigeria?
Yeah, I would have been asking the question, I would have been elated because, like, if the indices that we have already put in place and the Labour movement and the Labour Party, because some of us who come from the unions and all are already involved in governance. A key example is the ASU issue, which is very fantastic, germane to me. When you look at ASU, ASU is a member of the Nigerian Labour Congress. And if the Nigerian Labour Congress...
You mean the academic?
Yes, to the staff unions.
Staff union.
Yeah. They are an integral part of the Nigerian Labour Congress. And now, you now look at them and then you say they have an issue. And we have a government in place which is a Labour government. You can imagine that all of these are problems that affect the educational system of the Nigerian people will have been solved.
Yeah, what I'm saying is that you're not putting yourself in the shoes of a voter. A voter is not necessarily a member of your party. I'm saying that looking at what they're seeing today, do you not feel that they're probably thanking heavens that they didn't get you guys into office at the time?
No.
Because you don't seem to be ready for that kind of leadership challenge on a national level.
The regret is a regret being felt that we were not put in office. Because if we were, some of the issues that are coming out probably wouldn't have come out. Probably. Because already we would have been focusing on governance. And it was that particular issue of governance that I was giving you a simple example of ASO.
Right.
So if we were in governance, possibly we would have been focusing and be advancing on how to solve major issues, just like the one I've enumerated.
So you sweep your own party problems.
No, normally all of those ones will not fall into place. Because now people are seeing the viability of the party. And now everybody wants to come on board and using it. Those who are in the party as leaders are feeling that probably those who are coming from outside are coming up to take over.
Right.
A
Do you think
structure.
that's at the heart of the problem, or is there something more?
It is. Because if the leadership is more futuristic in thinking, that people will add more value rather than taking up the positions, probably will have been better. Because if you allow the conventions to have taken place from the ward level to the states, to the local government, to the state and all, already definitely there will be an influence of a lot of people. They'll be jostling for position in trying to make the party more viable. And you know the most interesting thing, these issues are solvable because it doesn't stop the incumbent from running for elections. It doesn't. As long as people perform credibly, it doesn't stop you. Even Mr. Chairman himself is eligible to rerun for his position.
Right, but does Peter Obi still enjoy the ringing endorsement, I mean, like he did in 2023, of both the leadership and the membership of the Labour Party, or have the divisions also meant that his support in the party has been draining away?
In fact, he is the key anchor of the party, more or less like the life wire, because everybody looks up to him. So everybody is, if you look at it, if you want to trend, even within the party or even with the divide and all you needed to do is mention his name.
And is there concern that he might just leave the party if things continue to deteriorate?
Well, there are so many people who are alluding to that particular theory. But I can tell you for sure that His Excellency is solidly on ground and is remaining in the Labour Party. Because until he's been able to get this particular issue off the ground, at least to an appreciable level, except of course it was becoming so very difficult within maybe litigations and all that would make it impossible to settle, then that's when you will be thinking of an alternative. But at the moment now, he's firmly rooted with the Labour Party.
Right, you mentioned this at the beginning, what has happened in the UK.
Yeah.
I'm sure you've seen how the wind of change in politics blew all over Britain, and a Conservative Party that felt too comfortable in power, and that wind has now brought in the Labour Party there. And of course we might see similar results in France with this weekend's elections, but of course going the other way, which is to the right. How do you rate the chances of that wind of political change blowing across Nigeria in 2027 in favor of the Labour Party? Clearly, it won't be a walk in the park, given the challenges that you face today. And I mean, let's face it, it's still 3 years away.
You know, it's a lifeline. For a Labour Party to have won this landslide, it shows you that when you are organized and united for a common fight, and you know that that particular thing will take you to a destination, it gives you a soul-searching situation for whoever or anybody or any group within the Labour Party to start thinking that, look, this thing is possible. So therefore, whatever it is that I'm running after, I need to change my negative thinking.
Right, but the circumstances in Nigeria are different, of course.
We have a worse situation.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
You've
got issues of, you know, whether you've got the vote is free and fair, whether all kinds of things that they don't have to worry about in the UK.
Charles, it really don't matter to me. Let me explain. When you are making a revolution by vote, you challenge every of the system.
Every part
of the system become challenged. Because, like we usually say, there's an obedient in every home. Today,
yeah, but that's what you tried to do in 2023.
yes,
and
because
it didn't work.
right now, everybody is feeling the pinch and feeling the pain. And you are looking for solution. When you are just like in a blue plushie and somebody give you a two-edged sword, you will grab it because you want to survive.
Yeah, but
isn't
that
now.
all the more reason why people, I mean, the words you're saying are very important ones.
Yeah.
Isn't that all the more reason why people want to see a Labour Party that is actually cohesive and not fractious and divided and fighting each other? Because a lot of these things, these, if you like, revolutionary things that you're talking about, it's not a revolution that will be fought on the streets. It's a revolution within the National Assembly, change and that kind of thing, putting the right laws in place and ensuring that you work effectively as an opposition to lean on the government in power to make sure that they carry out reforms within, for example, the Electoral Commission and so on. But if you're not playing that role as a credible opposition, then the chances of that revolution that you talk about are just will never come.
Now, that is the systematic way of getting these things done. I'm talking about the mindset that have already put you in a perpetual poverty. Now you are looking for a solution. Let me give you an example. When you go to vote, there's somebody that gives you a ballot paper. There's somebody that gives you a thumb printing ink to thumb. There's somebody who ought to count. There's a security man. Two of them stand with you. And at the same time, by the time it's collated, there are people who collate and then pronounce the result. At every interval, there are people. They are not spirits. And each of these particular individuals are affected with the sitting situation in Nigeria. Now, if you decide that you know that there's a right candidate that ought to have been voted for and people are voting for that particular candidate, or the processes in which that election should take place, which bring in the best candidate and reduces the issue of confrontation and argument, and you know it is under your hand, and you know it's your contribution, and if you do the right thing, it will reduce the problem that you are facing. That will have been a general
the challenge, of course, for you is that you are a political party. And therefore, you have to do things within the sphere of politics. And the point is that if you yourself, your party, you're not convincing people that you're credible as a political party, that you're different. And right now, a lot of people don't think you are. They think you're just the same as all the other parties.
Exactly.
So what I'm trying to say is that how would you now try to make people who feel bruised and disillusioned about politicians that politics can be a force for good in this country, and that the Labour Party can be and is that force, notwithstanding all the churn and turmoil that we've seen in the party, particularly since the 2023 presidential election?
This particular cleaning up that His Excellency is leading. And you give a very seemingly open and transparent process of saying, look, I'm listening to every differences and we are now working together and collapsing it together and say, look, this is the best way to go. We've breathed out a blueprint and everybody has agreed now to this particular process of rebuilding the party. And then INEC give a stamp of authority on it. And then we follow suit. That will rebuild the hope.
Yeah, well, you have to admit that it's been one trauma and one drama after another, and the Nigerian people, including those who supported you in the last general election, are sick of it and just want you to get on with trying to rescue this country and not having a daily drama show.
Well, normally in a political situation, things like this come up and it exhumes and they bring out for you to know those who are serious within the party and those who are mediocre and those who are coming to come and cause destruction. By the time you'll be able to collapse this together and be able to distill and get the right people on board, it helps you. But if it doesn't happen at all, you will only find yourself in a position of power, then those particular people will rather make your government very bad looking instead of it resulting to it. So we are now at a point in which Nigerians will be seeing that, okay, yes, we've had our troubles, we have been able to work on them, and we have been able to fashion out a solution, and the solution is working so that we now have best hands that can deliver the goods.
So what happens next?
The next situation is that after this particular individual or grouping meeting with Excellency, there will be a general house meeting of all the stakeholders. Those who are in position of authority at the moment of the party, those who are coming as a transition committee and all, everybody that has something to do with the party will come and say, look, this is the issue on ground, and this is the way to solve this. We are not interested in any argument further, but from so date to so time, agreeable, we will conduct or we will deal with the matter based on the agreement that's already been exhaled. That is the next issue on the table.
Right. Okay, we'll be watching very closely.
Thank you
very much indeed for coming to talk to us about it. Dr. Yunusa Tanko was the spokesperson of the Obi Dati campaign organization in 2023, and he's the current spokesman for the Peter Obi Media Reach Group. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you very much, and God bless Nigeria.